Next take I want to have here is about Oklahoma. Shocker there. But it's really about Oklahoma and the spring game experience. Okay. So the turnout is for real. And I want to, Oklahoma fans probably going to get a kick out of this, all right? So we're just going to go ahead and get it out the way. It's not just that Oklahoma packed 75,360 people to a glorified practice. It is that it is the highest attended spring game in the history of Oklahoma football by more than 20,000. It's also that it was the best attended spring game of any spring game in 2022. Georgia had about 65K, 66K following a national championship and the first one in 41 years. Oklahoma still outdrew them by a doggone near 10,000 people. This is at a stadium that no longer holds 100,000 people. I think the capacity now is like 84 at the Palace on the Prairie. It's not a small thing. But you also have a lot of factors that are coming together here, right? First one is you have a genuine new head coach at Oklahoma for the first time since Bob Stoops was hired in December 1998. Bob Stoops appointed Lincoln Riley, the head coach at Oklahoma, at 33 years old. Even Lincoln Riley would cop to that. So there was no real coaching search, and there was no real, we want to go get this dude. That happened for the first time in more than 2 decades at Oklahoma, and Joe Castiglione hit a home run. As a matter of fact, when the news came out that Lincoln Riley was going to be the new head coach at USC, I sent a tweet saying Oklahoma head coach Brent Venables. Knowing doggone well probably wasn't going to come through because Brent has not wanted to go anywhere at all since joining Clemson in 2011, 2012. He chose Oklahoma, which is another way of saying Lincoln Riley left Oklahoma. And I'm fond of marriage analogies here for a number of reasons, not the least of which is I'm divorced and I'm an adult. Number 2 is I've been broken up with and I'm an adult. Number 3 is nothing spurs you into action like wanting to show your ex what they are missing. All right? You want to act as if that doesn't matter. Fine, you go do that. But you would be walking around, let's say downtown Tulsa, and you might see your ex. And if your ex looking fresh, you gonna feel some kind of way about that. But if you are the ex that is looking fresh, that is what you live for. Okay? You want that. You want that envy. You want somebody to reflect back and say, damn, I should have married that person. What was I thinking about? We all live for that because we are selfish as human beings. Okay? You got that at Oklahoma. And not only that, you got a new man who loves you, who brings you flowers, who whispers sweet nothings into your ear, who tells you, no, baby, we getting back to national championships here. And that has been the mood in Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, I've been the contrarian here in my home state, in my hometown. A lot of people are like, yo, man, RJ, I remember when you used to root for Oklahoma. It's like, I still root for Oklahoma. I'm just not an idiot. Like, I see what I see, which is to say, they ain't played nobody. You hired a great coach. You brought in a good coordinator. You brought in some great players, but you still ain't played nobody. Okay? I need you to go play somebody. Because pointing to results is the reason why I'm hedging on Lincoln Riley, right? Which is saying, hey, everywhere he's been, Oklahoma, he's been able to win. But when I really want to poke USC fans who want to be like, yo, RJ, why isn't Lincoln Riley mentioned as your best head coaching hire of 2022? It's because I remember him at East Carolina with Shane Carden, offense coordinator. Ruffin McNeil gave that man a shot. Mike Leach actually getting into trouble ended up giving Lincoln Riley a shot to be an offense coordinator. Ruffin McNeil took that job at East Carolina, brought Lincoln Riley with him. And then, we got Gil Brandt saying to Bob Stoops as he's getting ready to fire Josh Heupel, hey, I have your next offensive coordinator. He's over there in Greenville at Vince McMahon's alma mater. I'm only willing to go so far on that, but I do want to say he's been remarkable as a head coach. Even in the year for which everybody wants to dunk on him, he won 10 games. Okay? I think Brent Venables can do better, but he needs to first do better. Then I will be on team yeah, okay, Oklahoma was doing all the things they ever said they would. But, dog, I watched the spring game, even as I was in Birmingham, Alabama, covering the United States Football League because I'm that type. And Javonte Barnes is the dude. Dylan Gabriel, he got the goods. And he has a relationship with Jeff Lebby, offensive coordinator. They know what they're doing in the system, and they're teaching it to everybody else. Theo Weiss is going to become the dude that I always thought that Theo Weiss could become. As a matter of fact, when Jaden Hazelwood, Trajan Bridges, and Marvin Mims were still over there, I was going, Theo's the dude. Like, Theo was coming out of Allen ready to go. He gets to that sort of play. You're going to see what I'm talking about. I really think Theo Weiss has it in him to be great. And then you take a look at what they lost in the NFL draft, right? Isaiah Thomas, Nick Bonito, Delary Turner-Yell, right? We keep going around there. But they had guys, and they're going to be able to replace those guys. Like Isaiah Thomas going, Jalen Redmond's going to be a guy. I'm with that, right? I've been a big fan of what Kobe McKenzie is because that dude is bigger and larger than Kenneth Murray was when he got drafted in the first round 2 years ago, okay? You have guys. The idea that you're going to be able to stick a guy like Billy Bowman at safety and say, no, you're going to learn to play this position because that is a Brent Venables move. Remember, Brent Venables is the dude that identified Isaiah Simmons coming out of Kansas and turned him into a destroyer of worlds. I'm saying, Oklahoma expects to be good. I want Oklahoma to be good for obvious reasons, but they got to do it first. Also, adding here, Oklahoma, 75K plus. USC, 33,427. That's not a take. Those are just facts. Next take I have has to do with LSU, and it's got 3 quarterbacks who can play. Now, only one of them is going to start week 1 against Florida State. That's how that goes, right? But with Walker Howard, Miles Brennan, and now Jaden Daniels, you have 3 capable dudes in Brian Kelly's first year at LSU who could absolutely show out for you. But the way I look at this is you're probably going to pick between Miles Brennan and Jaden Daniels, and Walker's going to get the redshirt year because that's the move to set them up for 2023. 1, because you want him to get that year of understanding and learning what it means to play at this level. And 2, because you might not win the Arch Manning sweepstakes, and you need to have a contingency plan. Okay. Then it's about which one of those 2 guys, Jaden Daniels or Miles Brennan, do you better expect to take care of the football? Because that's what college football coaches like Brian Kelly care about. Take care of the football. Don't beat yourself. Don't take unnecessary risk. Hand the football to the running back. Dump the ball out of bounds. You know, all the things that I don't really like about college football, but lead themselves to conservatism because college football fans, not college football fans, college football coaches hate taking chances. They just don't like it. Like, I'm covering the USFL, and we were into week 2 before we saw a 3-point conversion attempted, let alone converted, right? We got this double pass deal that you could do in the USFL. Haven't seen one yet. I want to see more coaches that want to run an offense that say, no. We're trying to go for 6, and we're going to take chances to do it. Matter of fact, my favorite play call in USFL so far is Kevin Sumlin's Hail Mary call because it's called Bombers. Hey, Bombers. We're just bombing people. Like, I love that. Bomb people at LSU. Like, throw it deep. I'm asking for that. Please don't do the same joint you was doing at Notre Dame. I had to learn that Kevin Austin ran a 4.440 at the combine. That's who Brian Kelly is. What? No. I want to see the kind of LSU I saw in 2019 where they said, we're going to throw it all over the yard, and we're going to set records throwing it all over the yard on the way to an undefeated season in the national championship. You can do that. But will they? Okay. So on top of that, remember that Brian Kelly is the dude that started Brandon Wimbush and then went to Ian Book? He could do that again. I would not be shocked to see both Jaden Daniels and Miles Brennan start games this year before somebody figures out that the offense runs better with this guy rather than the other guy. We'll see. Next take I have. The SEC West is a monster. This is not news, but it does need to be hammered home. I watch a lot of Big Ten football for obvious reasons, okay? The Big Ten East was a monster last year. Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan State, right? Even Rutgers wasn't sorry. The SEC West sometimes feels like it compete with the NFC East. It's not true, but that's how it feels because you got to go to number 4 in a 7-team division before you get to a team that did not win 10 games. Think about that, right? Like I'm having a hard time trying to understand how Alabama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Arkansas, and even LSU to a degree aren't caping for a college football playoff expansion. Because I would love nothing more than to see 8, 10 SEC teams in a 2014 playoff against, other teams, but also the only other SEC team that isn't in the SEC, and that would be Ohio State, because they recruit like one and play like one. Like, it's just that how it goes. But I'm looking at it, I'm going, Alabama still has Bryce Young, right? Who we'll talk about here a little bit later on the show. They got Will Anderson, who is the best edge rusher in college football. May have gone before the number 1 pick this year in the NFL draft if he was eligible. It's like that. They added Eli Ricks for a Josh Jobe didn't look like he was doing. Eli got into some trouble. We'll see what Nick Saban decides to do about that. They got to teach JaQuincy McKinstry how to, cover because he was getting exposed in a college football playoff. Okay? But you got Henry To'oTo'o returning. That's a leader on your defense. Okay? You've got dudes offensively returning. And you added Jermaine Burton from Georgia. Perhaps the number 1 wide receiver going into 2022 for Georgia decided he was going to transfer to Alabama after winning a national championship at Georgia. That's how good they have been at turning out wide receivers at Alabama. He said no. The best wide receiver at Alabama last year was the 3rd best wide receiver at Ohio State in 2020. The Detroit Lions traded up to go get that man. His name is Jameson Williams. I'm saying that whatever Holman Wiggins, who, by the way, used to coach at the University of Tulsa, is doing for wide receivers at Alabama, yeah, that's the move. Outside of Alabama, I don't think there's any other place other than Ohio State. Like, you got Ohio State and Alabama offer, you're winning. Either way. I would choose Ohio State, but that's also because I watched Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave get selected along with Jameson Williams. But, not too long ago, it was Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, so forth, so on. Jalen Waddle, Devontae Smith. We can keep going. There isn't a bad argument here. As a matter of fact, when I put out this question going, if you had an offer from Ohio State, why wouldn't you take it? I'm really asking the question. If you have a good answer for that, let me know. You can leave it in the comments. You can hit it on Twitter, whatever, because I think that's a really good intellectual discussion where there are no losers. A&M put together the best recruiting class in history 1 year after Alabama put together the best recruiting class in history. Jimbo Fisher is beside himself looking for reasons to tell everybody, no, we're up this year. We're coming for everybody this year. Like, because I'm a huge F1 fan, and some of y'all know this, some of y'all don't, I would equate what Jimbo Fisher did, getting his piece of paper out where he wanted to read off names like Jack Swarbrick and Sliced Bread and telling everybody, nah, we're about this. It's Toto Wolff in the roll neck, black turtleneck at the end of the last season Drive to Survive going, everybody's got a target on their back. Nobody's safe, which, I eat up because I'm a Lou Hamilton fan, super fan, I might even add. But that's where A&M is right now. They all feel that kind of way. They feel like they have the roster to go after everybody. Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, whomever you want to put in front of them, they want the smoke. I'm here for that. Ole Miss. You heard my man's Matt Corral say it over here. Yo, they got some dudes. Like, talk about Michael Trigg, Zach Evans. They got some dudes over there. Along with Ulysses Bentley IV, which is an all-namer, right? Transfers in from Southern Methodist where he was putting up numbers. You also got Jackson Dart back there who's going to be your signal caller, right? If Lane Kiffin is the kind of dude I think he is, and he can replace dudes like DJ Durkin and Jeff Lebby, his 2 coordinators, they ought to be decent again. Now, shout to Corral, who is riding for his dude Luke Altmaier, and I get that, right? But we all know who's going to be the number 1, and we all know why Jackson Dart is there. That's Ole Miss. See how I haven't got to Arkansas yet? What? Sam Pittman got KJ Jefferson returning. Okay? He added Jay Hazelwood. Okay? They still got a dominant defense where they got better. Barry Odom added Drew Sanders. Bubba Poole, Grant Morgan, Jalen Catalon. Come on, man. Like, that's a murderous division over there, and I can't wait to watch it because as a chaotic neutral in this sport called college football, I'm here for that. Give me all of that. Matter of fact, Auburn, good luck to you. Good luck to you. Like, seriously, good luck to you. Mississippi State, good luck to you. It's going to be crucial in that division. I'm so excited. All right, my next observation, takeaway. Ohio State is the only SEC team outside of the SEC. Okay. It's not that Chris Olave, Garrett Wilson, Jamison Williams got drafted. It's that the best wide receiver at Ohio State was not drafted. Okay. I watched the Ohio State spring game. I watched CJ Stroud go find dudes and throw them open. And we'll have a great conversation about who is the best player on this team. But you got Stroud. You got Travion Henderson back there. You have you got JSN. You got Jack Smith-Njigba. You got Marvin Harrison Jr. You got Julian Fleming, who conveniently gets lost in all of this, who was the number one wide receiver in 2020. Emeka Egbuka, who was the number one wide receiver in 2021. Brian Hartline ought to be the highest paid wide receiver coach in the history of the sport because he's been recruiting like that. They're so crucial on the outside. You're also going to have not just Travion Henderson back there, but also Evan Pryor and Mayan Meatball Williams. You got dudes in a Ryan Day offense. And remember, Ryan Day is, I think, talked about wrongly here. And I can even go with Ryan Day is more important to Ohio State football than Lincoln Riley was to Oklahoma football. I understand that Oklahoma fans going to be some kind of way about this, but let me walk this out. Before Ryan Day was hired by Urban Meyer to be the offensive coordinator at Ohio State ran basketball on grass. Basically a triple option. We're going to turn the quarterback into a runner. We're going to take advantage of the extra man. JT Barrett, Braxton Miller, Cardale Jones. Okay. Before that, we're going to pound the rock. We're going to throw Maurice Clarett at you, right? We're going to throw Beanie Wells at you. We're going to throw Eddie George at you. We're going to have the first two-time Heisman winner in the history of sport, and he's also a tailback. That's who we're going to be. We're going to run the football and play defense. Ryan Day comes along, and not only does he say, Urban, I want to throw the football. He says the best player, or I should say who turns out to be the best player in 2019, Joe Burrow, I like the other dude better. I like Dwayne Haskins, who does not remind me anything like Alex Smith, which is what Tom Herman ended up recruiting Joe Burrow to be, right? Was to be the next Alex Smith at Ohio State. He wanted the dude that was a pure passer. And recent events have kind of colored this a little bit, but I still want to say this out loud. Dwayne Haskins is the best pure passer who ever played football at Ohio State. And I know this to be true because he is the tool for which Ryan Day showed Ohio State fans, no, it's not just that we could throw the football, it's that he doesn't even have to threaten to run on anybody, because to look at Dwayne Haskins is not to see a runner. To look at Dwayne Haskins is to see a dude who purely could flip his wrist and the ball goes 70 yards and it ends up right where he wants it to be. Ryan Day parlayed that into Justin Fields. Justin Fields into a dude that was once ranked 838th in all of high school football recruiting into what might be the first selection in the 2023 NFL draft. People are getting upset about CJ Stroud not running the ball the way they were upset about Dwayne Haskins not running the ball. And all they have to show for it is 40 a game because that offense moves. All to say, I watched the Ohio State spring game. I was not impressed with the defense. Shocker there. A, the defense plays really vanilla in the spring game because they don't want to show anything. And B, it's a new defense with a new coordinator. But you still got Jack Sawyer on an end. JT Tuimoloau on an end. Okay? Taraji Mitchell can be in the middle, along with my dude Reed Carrico. You got dudes, right? It's about getting them to be the world's okayest defense. If they are the world's okayest defense, they will make the college football playoff. Because Oklahoma did that for like 4 years in a row. You can make the playoff being terrible if you're looking at the 2018 Oklahoma defense. If you're okay, you could probably win the first national championship at Ohio State since 2014. Okay? That is why I believe that it's the only SEC team outside of the SEC. Because when you look at the way they recruit, the way they develop in the fan base, there is no conversation about that. Thanks for watching this video. And remember, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any other videos on the #1 Ranked Show YouTube channel.